I'm black, and growing up, especially being a black woman,
you are young, black, and gifted.
Thank you.
Got
Thank
you.
But no, we experience not even just women, but I feel like just us as a culture, we experience colorism. And growing up, my father's very, 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 very light skinned, and then my mother, she's on the darker side. And growing up, there's been times where like people wouldn't think my dad was my dad, or it's always been, especially with media and entertainment, it's always been that the lighter lighter complected people, they tend to be favored. So I wanted to ask, though, with you being a Mexican woman, now I know you guys go through a lot of the same things that we as black people go through. So how was that for you growing up, like, as a Mexican woman? Did you experience anything like that, colorism?
I did with my sister. So me and my sisters were complete opposite looking. I'm tall, she's short. I'm thicker, she's tiny. I'm super, super light skinned. She's really dark. So they would say like, oh, you guys are sisters? And then we're like, yeah. And they're like, different dads or different moms? And we're like, same mom, same dad. But I got treated a little bit more better than her because I was lighter. And that always bothered me because if you know me, oh my God, all you got to do is say my sister's name and I just break down in tears. I love my sister. Yeah. She's my best friend. So it was always hard because she looks more darker, more Indian, and I'm just more like Spaniard looking. I'm very light skinned, but it does mess with me when I love being Latina. So when they're like, hey, güera, white girl, oh girl, that's the worst. I'm like, excuse me, I am brown and I am down, honey.
Right, yes. Right. And it's like, that's why I wanted to touch on, because I feel like within the colorism, it always seems that the darker complexion gets the I guess more made fun of, or they get the more negative connotation. But I do feel being lighter, it's like you're not dark enough to be with us. You know what I mean? Yes. And if you were dark, it's like you're not light enough to be with us. It's like you're too dark for the black people. And if you're light skinned, you're too light for the black people.
And I think sometimes that can mess with us because, like, for instance, my sister's darker. So when we go out and we hang out in her pool, she's all sunblocked out, or she'll be in the shade. She's like, I am not trying to get any more darker than I am. I'm not trying to tan. And me, because I am light, I wish that I was darker. So I think she almost wished she was lighter, and I wish that I was darker. And I'm like, are you kidding me, sister? You got that beautiful dark, like, golden tan. Like, that's awesome. Like, I just get burnt, so. But no, I see the colorism, and it's definitely in the Latino culture too. The Latinos that look white, they can pass for white. They seem to be what we call more like fresa, like very bougie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then the ones that are, look a little bit more Indianish, they're more like, oh, they're only for, blue collar jobs, and that's not really true. But I also think that times are changing, because right now, let me tell you something. They love that dark skin, and I love it too. Within the black culture, the Latino culture, like, everybody's trying to get that tan right now, So, but I do feel it. And I get it different though, because I was born here in the United States, so I get like, you're not really Mexican, you're pocha.
I used to get, you're not really black.
Yeah,
all the time.
And I'll be like, no, I'm Mexican, and they're like, were you born in Mexico? And I'm like, no, I was born in Martin Luther King Hospital. Okay, we called it Killer King, right? But so we have those battles too. Whereas Mexican Americans, like Americans, you know what I mean, don't want us in their country. In our country, we was here first. Don't get me started on that. But Americans treat us like if we are the immigrants in this country, and then if I go back to Mexico, I'm like an unwanted American, so it's sad. It's so sad, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think I've learned to live with it, and it's something that's normal for me. And I just say, like, you know what, I'm LA. It is what it is. LA is a beautiful melting pot.
It is. Now, you growing up in LA, how was that for you as a Mexican girl?
Well, it was crazy because I grew up like in Linwood, Compton, Watts. So I remember my first friend, I must have been like 6, 7 years old. My first like real best friend, her name was Tamara. And I remember Tamara lived across the street from me, and I lived in Linwood, and it was off of Long Beach Boulevard in Josephine. And Tamara got these pretty braids in her hair, and it was the braids with the beads and the foil at the end.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
girl,
but beautiful.
Yeah,
so I'm aging myself right now. But it was like the beads with the braid, and I remember I didn't see color. All I saw was that my friend had a pretty hairstyle and I wanted it to be just like my friend because I love her and she's my best friend. And I remember going to my mom and I was like, Mom, I want braids like Tamara. And my mom was like, you're Mexican. You know what I'm saying? And I still was like, I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all I know is that I want to be the same like my best friend.
Right.
Because I was so young, I didn't see color. And my mom went to my uncle at the time. And she told him, my uncle could braid. He used to braid all the girls' hairs in the neighborhood. And she was like, I don't know what to say to C. Like, she wants these braids, but, you know, how do I tell her, like, she's not black? And
let me just tell you, I'm going to interrupt you. I met your mom. That lady is funny.
She's hilarious. She introduced herself as Rita from the CPT. Like, my mom is crazy. And I remember my uncle saying, you don't have to tell her anything. Let me braid her hair. Let me braid her hair. Like, why do you even have to tell her anything? She got her hair. Let me braid it. Right. So my mom's like, okay, cool. And so I had my hair braided. I had the beads with the foil. And all I knew was that me and Tamara had the same hairstyle. And we were skating down the street together. And that's all I knew. Right. So I always grew up with, you know what I mean, black and brown. That's all I know is black and brown. And I mean, it's funny because I didn't grow up listening to Spanish music and I'm Mexican. I grew up listening to Shaka Khan and Teddy Pendergrass. But like I said, I lived in Linwood, Compton, and Watts. So it was different for me. And I ended up growing up to that type of music. You know, Tina Marie, Rick James, the Ohio Players, you know, War. So that's what I grew up with. And to me, it's just been so normal to me. And it's funny because I really identify with Latinos and I identify with blacks. And I feel like, we're still, whether you want to call it the hood or the barrio, we're in the same spot. Our lives run parallel to each other.
Girl, you just took the words out of my mouth because I always say, like, I'm not from here. So when I first moved out here, like, I always would hear that there was always beef between blacks and Mexicans. And as I got older, and I'm like, why? We are the same. We are. And you know what's funny? I was watching a video and the guy was like, he brought like some tortillas to a Korean barbecue, you know, and the joke was that, you know, Mexicans bring tortillas everywhere. But I'm like, we are no different. Only thing is, we eat white bread with everything. My dad, white bread with everything. I promise you, rice and white bread.
Wait a minute, and it's the white bread. You don't even do nothing with it. You just pull it off the loaf and give it.
That's exactly, and it's the same thing. So y'all just eat tortillas, but that's why I never understood why there was the beef because we're so much alike. But
and see, I never understood it because I didn't grow up like it. I could see maybe where the beef is if it's like East LA or something like that. But see, I grew up in South LA in Watts, Linwood, and Compton, where I grew up around a lot of black people. So I didn't see that, you know, at all. I would be like, oh my God, can I come over and get some greens? Like I didn't like, to me, it was just it was a delicious dish that I love and I eat it.
Exactly.
So I never see like that friction. At all.
And so, you said, it caught my attention. You said, you know, when you were younger, you wanted braids like Tamara, but you didn't see that she was black. So that brings me to, I want to ask you, do you think that racism is, it's taught? Do you think that it's something that it's taught,
Yes, racism is definitely something that is taught. I think that it's something that is learned. Yeah. That's what I want to say. Maybe not taught, maybe learned, because you learn from your parents, you learn from seeing, and kids soak up so much. So kids pick up what they hear. Mm-hmm. I come from a household where I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, listen, my mom is, you know, Mexican from Compton that let her daughter rock some braids and some beads and was cool with it. Like my mom was always cool with that. And I think I come from a family where my mom was like, I don't care if your boyfriend is blue, black, purple, yellow, red. The only thing that I can ask as a mother is that he treats my daughter good. That's it. If he loves you and he treats you good, that's all I can ask for. Right. So that's what I've been raised. But there is some friction, but I feel like that's old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like now we're such a melting pot. And I think it's beautiful when I see different cultures come together. And I think that, I'm going to be honest, I think when Trump was in office, that's when we all bonded together. Okay? Because we're like, look, they coming after us. That means they're going to come after you next. And if they're coming after you, they're going to come after us next. So we all had to kind of bond together with that. You know, I think that while, you know, he was in office and I don't want to get too controversial because I know some people will come after me, but we really had to stick together with that. And I think that showed us that, listen, we're not so different at all.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
We definitely, like you said, we need to stick together. Like I feel like we need to have each other's backs, us
Absolutely.
black and brown.
Yes.
And I definitely have seen a lot more of that.
Yes.
And I love it. I do want to ask though, what do you think, or where do you see the state of America, but for the Hispanics and the Latino community? Like, where do you see that going? Like, do you see the future for your community progressing?
I definitely see our community growing and progressing. I think maybe 5 years ago, you couldn't get anybody to really invest too much into the Latino community. And I think now a lot of people see the money that we spend. They see, what we add to the economy. And I see now more people are reaching out into the Latino community, and a lot of companies want to go ahead and grab the Latino consumer. So I think we are progressing, and I think people are taking notice. I just got signed. I'm working with the Getty Museum, and I'm a brand ambassador. And it's crazy because I didn't go after Getty. Getty came after me, and they came after me because they said we want to get Latinos back in art. They want Latinos to join the art scene in Los Angeles, and my following is really big. A big Latino following. Yeah. So I'm working with them. 5 years ago, I don't know if Getty would have even tried to dabble into the Latino community. Right. You know what I mean? So I see certain things changing. But I love it. I love that we're progressing. I think we need to do more. I think we need to do better. And I think that when you have your people of color that are either marching, they're doing activism, they're speaking up, I think that it's really important for you guys to support them. Yes. Because you have no idea when we stand up for something, and when we especially stand up for our people, you have no idea the backlash we take. We get backlash like a mother. Like, so sometimes when you're seeing people speak, I really would love to implore to really send them words of encouragement, DM them, put a nice comment, because it's hard. Yeah. It's a lot of tough work, but we do it, and we do it without that. But I just want to encourage you that if there's somebody that you're following, even somebody like Deja, you see them, words of encouragement keep us going so much, and you have no idea how hard it is for us to utilize our platform for good. Because you got a lot of trolls. People don't want you to use your platform for good. Absolutely
right. And that brings me to my next question. You said using your platform and being activism, and I love how much involved you are with the activism. I love it. I feel like we need more people like that. Now, with you being in radio and you're so involved and around all these rappers, what is your opinion on rappers using their platform to bring change that we need?
I love it. I think we need more rappers to utilize their platform, and I think through the pandemic, through the Trump administration, and through the BLM movement, I think we have seen a lot of rappers, you really utilize it. Jay-Z, who else? Jay-Z. There's somebody else that was with him. You know what I'm saying?
Cube did a lot.
Ice Cube did a lot. Ice Cube did a lot. You know what I mean?
And then R.I.P. But we had Nip.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace.
But J. Cole.
Yeah, they really utilize their platform. Also too, Jamie Foxx was speaking out. We had George Lopez speaking out. A lot of people.
D.L. Hughley.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's big because I follow him. He's big on. Him. Yeah, he be putting people on blast. I love it. But what they were doing was making people accountable, and I felt like Beyonce. She was doing a lot. I feel like they utilize their platform because we needed people to speak for us, and we need people who have megaphones, and they have megaphones. So I love seeing that we do have a lot of hip hop artists that are either trying to give back. A lot of them have donated to HBCUs and have really, developed a lot of scholarships, and it's great because when did you hear people start talking about HBCUs until recently?
Right. No, absolutely.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's because the hip hop industry is shining light. So I love that. I think we need to do more of that. And the ones that have been doing it and that are doing it, I really applaud you and I thank you because you're a voice for Black and brown, and we need your megaphone.
Right. And that's like I said, that's why I love how much you are so involved with, making these changes and getting stuff done. So before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, what would you say to your younger, what's the word I want to say? Our younger brown brothers and sisters that are coming up.
I would say to learn your craft, know who you are, and please don't let anybody to tell you what you want to do. As long as you know what you